Hi everyone, welcome to Our Hollywood. I'm Daniel.
I'm Kim.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. So we just recorded the episode and
I
now we're
think
doing
it's
the
better.
pre-show.
I kind of like recording the pre-show after.
Really?
Yeah,
How come?
because I feel like sometimes we'll go too long in the pre-show and then we're burnt out by the time we talk to the guest. So we
Okay.
don't have as much to give when we talk to the guest. At least that's my point of view.
Interesting. For me, it's the other way around. Oh my god, now we have low battery. Are you?
So basically today's episode is the evolution of movie musicals. If you watched our other one with Ella, the Magic of Cult Musicals, you know that we love a good musical. So this episode is really exciting. I've been waiting to have somebody to talk about movie musicals. And I think our guest for after the ad read are amazing people to talk to about this. So I'm excited to hear. Excited for you guys to hear it. And yeah,
Broadway experts, musical theater experts.
Yeah,
like, they know all the tea, and I don't know anything that's going on.
Yeah.
So what we watched this week? Okay, what did you watch? Any notable?
I watched North Hollywood. Illegal Civ is kind of like a skate group, but it's also their tagline is the first teen movie studio.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's only available right now to pay for it. So you have to pay on the website to watch it. And so I split it with my friend because it's $19 and I was like, I'm not paying $19 to watch a movie. Especially when I don't know too much about it. But I watched it. I'm so sorry. I did not like it. And I think this is another thing. I think it's admirable what Mikey, which is the guy that made it, tried to do because he wanted to do it his way and with his vision. I think that's totally admirable as somebody that wants to create art and stuff like that. But what was the plot? It didn't make sense. So I would say if you're on the fence about buying or not, it's coming out on streaming services in May, mid-May. So I would say wait. There is a Letterboxd review that I liked that is basically how I feel. So if you really want to know how I feel about it, you can go look at that Letterboxd review that I liked. Yeah. It's not even like a diss because I really, really wanted to like it. And it's not saying it's a trash movie or whatever. I just think it didn't land like it was supposed to land.
Was it focusing more on the vibes and then there's no plot? Because I feel like a lot of I almost said student. A lot of young filmmakers, I guess they're oh, pretty shots, but then there's no plot.
Yeah, I think they thought they were doing something, but it didn't land the way you wanted it to. And also I don't want to trash on it, but I would say watch it, especially if you're into Illegal Civ. And I feel like Illegal Civ is paired with Tyler, the Creator, and that kind of aspect. So if you're into that, I would say watch it. Just wait until it comes out on streaming services. And I'm interested to hear what you have to say because a lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, and I would like to hear opinions of people that liked it because me and my friend that I watched it with didn't really like it. But yeah.
Which, speaking of, if you want to follow our Letterboxd, well, because you mentioned Letterboxd very briefly, so I was like, okay, that's enough for a transition to that. You can follow our Letterboxd. It's at Our Hollywood. We're talking all the movies that we're talking about, and today's episode will be on the list there if you want to add any of them to your watch list.
There's a lot of movies you talked about today.
Yeah. You can also follow at Our Hollywood on TikTok, at Our Hollywood on Instagram, but there's a period in between the two words. And Our Hollywood on YouTube if you want to watch the episodes with video.
Because today I'm wearing a Broadway shirt.
So. Yeah. Also, I feel like today's episode.
Hat.
Today's episode will be so fun to watch because it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
There was surprise visitors. We had to move it was just
yeah.
But it's still a really good episode.
Yeah.
You're in for a treat, guys.
Yeah. I think all the ones that we talk about movie musicals are good.
Yeah. Also stay just for the conversation about cats because that was really funny.
Yeah.
And then when I watched, mine definitely not as deep as yours, but I need anyone who 90 Day Fiancé Nation, if you're out there, please, I need to talk to someone about this.
Go on Twitter.
No, because it's all adults, and I want to talk with someone. Okay. I don't know if anyone.
Go on Reddit.
Okay.
Yeah, subreddit. Reddit as a whole is chaotic. Subreddits can be good.
Okay. Well, if there's anyone out there that watches 90 Day Fiance, please let me know, because so this last season of 90 Day Fiance just ended, and so basically they end each season with a tell all that's like 2 parts, and basically they get all the couples together that have never interacted. It's like the Infinity War of 90 Day Fiance, because
it's just a reunion.
Yeah, but you've never seen these couples interact throughout the season.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, they each have their own storylines.
Yeah.
So like you're seeing them interact for the first time. So you're like, okay, fun. And so whatever, they were doing the tell all, and there was this one couple, Andrew and Amira. And so basically their little story was Amira is from France, I believe, and Andrew's the American, and like COVID was like about to start happening, right? Because the season was like kind of through COVID and right before COVID. And so he wants her, basically they were closing up the borders, and so he had like a little plan.
Oh, I remember watching this.
Yeah, and he was like, so you're like, fly to Mexico and then we'll cross you over there. And it was this really sketchy plan. He's like, we'll have our little honeymoon or whatever in Mexico. Like I have a whole vacation planned, and like we'll have such a good time. And she's like, okay, Andrew. And like, so she flies to Mexico and she doesn't like land. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. And so like for a couple episodes, we don't really know what's happening. It's just Andrew trying to figure it out. But basically she was detained and she was put in like a prison essentially for like 3 days, no phone, no anything. And like, whatever, she gets out of it like a couple episodes later. I don't know how, she was in there for 3 days in real time. And so she gets out and then she tells Andrew, and he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like they sent her back to France. And he's like, well, I'm still gonna enjoy the vacation because we already paid for it. So he does his entire vacation by himself, which like, okay, fine. I guess I can't be mad about that.
Don't waste your money.
Yeah, like I guess fine. Amir's clearly traumatized by this. She literally like cries before she can even talk about it. Like she's very traumatized by this whole situation. And then she gets back to France and he's like, so we're going to try this one more time, but from a different country.
Girl.
And he's like,
no time between? Like he ended the vacation and was like, okay.
Yeah. Because he was like,
no months between.
No, because he was like, the visa's going to run out. Because like the visa was running out. So he wanted this to happen immediately. And she was like, I literally don't know if I can do this. And he would like, this happened off camera, but she would always mention things like, he's pressuring me. He's saying that I don't do enough for the relationship. He like super gaslighter vibes. Like I know no one knows what the definition of gaslighting is, but he is a gaslighter. And so he would like, but this all happened off camera, so we don't really like know. It's just kind of implied by what Amira says. And so then she's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna try it. And so she's about to do it, and then like something happens off camera that we don't know what it was, and she's like, I'm not gonna get on the plane. And so which I literally cheered
that's the thing
out loud.
about 90 Days Fiance. So many things happen off camera.
Yeah.
And because they know the cameras aren't on them, they literally just like do the craziest shit.
Yeah. And so she like ends up not going, which I absolutely cheer because Andrew is the most manipulative. I absolutely.
Is he the American?
Yeah. And so
is he white?
Yeah, obviously, ma'am. Like we know. Yeah.
Where's he from in the United States?
I have no idea.
Does he have an accent?
No.
Okay, so
and it's scary because how his behavior is because he works with kids.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, if I saw 90 Day Fiance and you were in charge of my child, you would no longer be in charge of my child.
Yeah.
After seeing this. And so anyway, basically to wrap it up, so like he goes to the tell all. Amira doesn't want to go, obviously, because it's like basically revealed that he abused her throughout this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And like he told her that as soon as she landed, he wanted to get her pregnant and like to have kids right away before they were even married. And he was like pressuring her to do that. And she was like, I literally don't want to do that. And then he was like, you're not doing enough for this. Like, I hate you.
See what this guy looks like.
Yeah. Oh, I'll literally show you right now. We can get a live reaction. And so in the tell all, she was like, I'm only going to do this if he's not there. And they didn't tell him this. So he literally storms off the tell all set. And like
reality TV.
Okay,
so
that's Amira and that's Andrew.
Okay. Yeah. She does not deserve that.
No, she doesn't.
She is beautiful.
Okay.
She does not deserve that. I mean, nobody deserves that.
No, yeah. But she I don't know. Yeah, I don't know I don't know how he got in this situation because like he is so.
Well, that's the issue with TLC and especially 90 Day Fiance and those dating shows is that they perpetuate abuse.
Yeah, they do.
Especially like Big Ed, like he abused this woman and he gets his own spinoff.
He's getting his own spinoff?
Yeah. Well, he's on a different show.
Oh yeah, he's on The Single Life.
And she has to deal with that and like he's still like not praised because he's kind of like the butt of the joke.
He's treated like a character, but he's a real.
But he's an actual shit human, and like that's the issue I have with a lot of reality TV is like they're perpetuating abusers and people that do shitty behavior because it's quote unquote good TV. That is not good TV.
Okay, yeah, well that's basically what my point, because I know like a lot of times I'm like, oh, I love 90 Day Fiance, but that's basically like the point I was getting to. So on the tell all, Andrew ends up leaving because he was like, I was only going to do this so I could get a chance to talk to her. And so Amira like does it like through FaceTime. She's not even at the set. And so she's like basically explaining her story. And then all the other guys of the couples are like, well, how come we don't get to see his side of the story? Like, how do we know you're telling the truth? Like all of the
guys, all of them?
Yeah. Oh. All of the guys. And like the only one who was like defending her was this one girl. This one woman, like I love her. She was like, guys, he literally said as he was leaving, I only was gonna do this to get to talk to her. So clearly she hasn't been wanting to communicate with him. Like there's literally something here that we don't know. And then like Jovi, Jovi's not listening to it, but I hate you. Like he's so like disgusting, and like he literally cheated on his wife with a stripper the day before they got married. Anyway, and so basically I was just so upset because like no one, like she literally defended herself. She was about to cry. Like she literally was about to have like an anxiety attack just thinking about what was going on, and like having to retell all of this, like the amount of trauma she went through. And then like all the guys were like, even after the Mira interview was done, like they filmed them behind the scenes, and they were like, yeah, I just don't buy it. Like I don't believe what she was saying. They flat out just say that. And I was like, and then the worst part is I was like, whatever, the season's over. Half of those guys are going to be on Happily Ever After. And I was like, I don't think I can even watch this season because like I literally don't even want to look at them. That's how upset they make me.
Ew.
Yeah. Anyway, that's why I had to. TLC, I have a bone to pick with you right now. I'm upset with how you handled that because Amira was abused and you guys like let Andrew off the hook way too easily. And you didn't educate the rest of the cast on what was happening, and you knew it was happening. So I'm upset. Anyway, guys, so our episode, we're going to go into our ad break right now. And then we're going into our episode, The Evolution of Moving Musicals.
Welcome back from our ad break. How fun was that?
Oh, yeah, so fun. So we're now with our guests, Bridget and Shayley. How are you guys?
Doing good. Doing good.
Yeah.
So fun.
Great. Oh my God, I'm wearing my Broadway shirt today. I literally got this shirt. It's like a Broadway shirt, and I am just.
Oh my, that's so. Where'd you get that?
I got it on Depop.
That's such a fun shirt.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I was wearing something different, and then I saw it in my closet, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I have to wear it.
Very
this is
themed.
like, I was like, this is the one shot I got. So.
This is the best thing.
Yeah,
I've
it's
ever
like
seen.
on the back too. Like it's
Wicked.
it's like insane. It's like
I'm really jealous. I want that.
There's a Wicked and all the little. That's so
yeah,
fun.
it has Lion King on it. It
Marquise.
has Mamma Mia on it.
What brand is it? Sorry, you're
I don't
checking.
know. Hairspray.
Some random. I literally don't even know.
42nd Street.
We're literally talking about like all of these today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wicked's coming up. Okay, anyway. So, you guys, Bridget, you can go first, and Shayley, you can go after. But basically, we just want to know what interests you in film and television. Like what made you want to go into this industry? What do you want to do in this industry? And kind of like, what are your goals? Like a little bio for each of you.
Sure. So this is Bridget. I am interested in the acting side of it. Also just like unrelated. Also access to arts in general, whether that be film or theater. But yeah, just acting, either film or theater is fun. Gosh, my theater origin story. I would say I started doing theater when I was like in elementary school and kind of didn't stop there. I would say, speaking of movie musicals, High School Musical was really, and like Hannah Montana really drove me to like continue on this path. I wish I was kidding. I don't think I am. But then I just started doing more musicals and just kind of, never stopped. And it's exciting to be in Los Angeles because that's kind of the film and TV aspect of all the acting, and it's good times. Yeah.
Oh, my turn. Okay. Wait, repeat the question.
Yeah. Basically, like what got you into film and like TV, like entertainment industry, what you want to do in the entertainment industry, and sort of like what your goals are. Or I'll pick and choose what you want to answer.
Yeah. So I I want to do the acting side of it as well. Similar to Bridget, I fell in love with it because of theater first and foremost. Like that was my first love, my first home. And then as I grew up, me and my dad watch a lot of movies together, and I just fell in love with it. And I would be watching movies and TV all the time, and I would tell people that I was studying, when really I was just, trying to watch a lot of TV and movies. But yeah, I just love everything about it. I love the intimacy of it. I love that you can tell, all sorts of different stories through film because of the magic of it. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, what? Go ahead.
Can I ask, how'd you guys meet?
We met through theater. We met.
We were acting one class together our freshman year, like our first class of freshman year, and then we kind of just like were inseparable since.
Yeah.
I mean, now she's like in Vegas, but she lives in Vegas. I live in California right now.
Oh,
but
okay.
A little separate right now, but it's fine.
And then how did you meet them?
I met Bridget. I don't know. Remember how we met?
Yeah, I don't.
Wait, really?
I mean, like, I know how I know Kim, but I don't know how I met.
Yeah, I don't remember like the first time we met.
Yeah.
I met Kim first, I feel like, because of
Yes, you did.
we lived in the same hall.
Oh.
Yeah, I definitely met Shayley first, and I think I just I don't know. There wasn't like a definite meeting. Oh, okay. He
Sorry.
spilled all over himself. But yeah, I just know them from college, basically.
Mhm.
But and then I've worked on like sets with them in college. Like
Okay, fine.
Shayley and I worked on like a 24-hour film together, and then Bridget was in Katie's movie.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you were in something else too. Yeah,
I
I
was
think
in
we're in
Josh's.
Jared's. Oh, Josh's. Yeah, you're on Josh's.
Wait, the
one that's
newest Katie one or the one?
The newest Katie one. Yeah.
Oh my. Oh yeah. I just like realized I was like, oh yeah, you were in that one. That's so fun. How was the 24-hour? How was that?
Honestly, it was fun. I had fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you think it was fun? Yeah. It was I always avoided it because I was like, I feel like this is really stressful.
Yeah.
But I thought we got really lucky with the subject we got because we got like dark comedy or something like that.
Oh, that's so fun.
No, we got horror.
Oh my God, yeah, murder mystery or something like that.
Murder mystery.
It was murder mystery, and I was like, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was fun. I got cake shoved in my face.
Yeah, I literally went face plant into a cake. It was a good time.
Kim acted in it. It was really good.
Yeah, I did act in it.
It was good.
I was really
Is this
bad at
out?
acting. Yeah, it is out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not good at acting, but it was
No,
fun.
it's okay. Weren't you also in like a really random like YouTuber movie?
Yeah, but I was just an extra.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm in it. Like you can see, I reacted and stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say I acted.
Okay. Well, that's not really speaking of.
Well, I don't think we ever said this.
That
This
was a rough
episode is
transition,
the evolution of movie musicals.
Yeah.
We're really bad at like letting people know. I just think it's like you click on it, you know what you're getting yourself into. Why do we need to like reiterate it like a million times?
Yeah.
But I guess like starting off, like, so why do movie musicals exist? Why are they important? I know Bridget, you're the one that put this on the doc. So if you wanna start.
I know Shayley has lots of strong feelings about this, but I think that initially, I think movie musicals, like most movies, but they really reflect the times that they exist in, both with the music that they are in, but also just like the content that the musicals are about. I think that's probably with a lot of films, but also like they often exist to like make people happy. I think that's a lot of the point of movie musicals is just to like brighten spirits, though there are some that like you cry the whole way through. But Shayley, you have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, I would say just especially to make people feel things, because that's what music does for sure. I mean, that's why movies have film scores and everything. But yeah, I think they're an important part of film because their musicals are wonderful. They're so great. They're so like they allow people to escape into this beautiful world where people like break out into song and dance, and all the problems are solved through different acts and different character arcs that are told through song, and I just think they're really magical, and I think it's cool because they're able to bring the magic of live theater into film and then allow people to experience it when maybe they couldn't normally, because theater is not always the easiest to experience because of accessibility and how expensive it can be. You know, going to the theater and seeing a $12 movie is a lot better than sitting in a theater that has the ticket costs $200. So I think movie music.
I also like, you mentioned like everyone loves musicals. So I've met a couple people that are like, oh, I don't like musicals, and I'm like, okay, why? Because I don't understand.
I don't understand.
And they're like, oh, because people don't do that in real life. I'm like,
okay.
And they're like going watch Avengers movies. I'm like, okay, you think people can fly? Like, what is the thought process? I don't like. It's just a good time.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Like,
I
it's
love
just
musicals.
fun. It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be the best film ever. As long as you feel something after, then like that's the point of it, I feel.
Literally The Greatest Showman for me.
Oh my god, I do love The Greatest Showman.
I love the
That was
songs.
a personality trait for me.
Yeah.
That was a personality trait when it came out. I literally saw it like 5 times.
I don't remember that phase.
I don't think we were talking then. Like, I think that, not like talking, like not in like a bad way.
Like, what happened?
I didn't, well, because in college we like went to different colleges.
I was literally...
Like, it wasn't like anything malicious.
Yeah, no.
It was just like it was like one of those things where you just like, you know, like you don't talk to your best friends sometimes.
I do.
Okay, well, your best friends are like the tightest knit group of best friends that I've ever met in my life.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm just different because I don't really talk to anybody. It's hard to get a hold of me.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I'm really hard to get a hold of.
And like sometimes I'll like, okay, this is off topic. I was just gonna say I see your messages and there's like 500. I'm like, what?
Yeah, right now it's like 107. It's really bad.
Anyway,
my Instagram DMs, you don't even want to know.
Yeah, I don't even bother swiping up on your stories. I'm like, she's never gonna see this, and then sometimes she does.
I get overwhelmed.
I get noticed by
Shut up.
Okay, so. Oh, we'll start.
Well, I want to say why I like movie
musicals. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I like movie musicals because I just like the idea of like moving through emotion through song, because sometimes it's hard to like say what you're actually feeling, and I think that's like what I like about musicals is like once there's like not any more words to say or like there's a lot of emotion built up, then they move into song because it's easier to express yourself that way, and I just like that. There, I kept it short and sweet. Dude, you keep on dropping water on yourself.
It like comes swinging at me. I don't know what's wrong with this water bottle.
It's because of the wide lid, dude.
Oh.
Anyway,
I'm trying to be sustainable.
I will say to Kim's point, I think that's what's so great about music and movie musicals and musicals in general, because songs can get to the heart of what a character is feeling or what they're going through. I think it like can elevate these stories and emotions and feelings and all of those things, and you can kind of like get a grasp on it almost a little bit more with songs and through music than necessarily through dialogue or other things.
100%. I feel like especially in like the older movies we're going to be talking about, sometimes I'm like, I don't understand this plot because it's like it's reflective of the times, like Bridget was saying, because I'm like in the 1960s and 1950s, I'm like, this is a lot different than the problems we go through. But then when the songs have it, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm understanding like the dynamics a little bit more, like it makes a little bit more sense. So for the first movie musical ever, and actually like this is what ended the silent film era as well, was The Jazz Singer, 1927. I was gonna watch this. I was gonna pay the $2 to watch it on Amazon today, but when I looked it up, I was like, hold on, oh, there's blackface.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really feel like paying $2 to watch blackface.
Old movie or old music, like, okay, there's another one I watched. I think it was Top Hat. I don't remember what it was called. But there was just one dance number that was completely in blackface. Had nothing to do with the plot. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
He just does a blackface number and then like the story keeps going.
I was trying to like read about it and like trying to like educate myself on blackface and like why this is problematic. And on it was like kind of hard to find things about this, which is what I think Hollywood has a problem like acknowledging its literal racist roots a lot of the times. And a lot of people try to be like, well, even though there's blackface, there was meaning for the blackface. And I'm like,
no.
No, it's not okay ever. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on The Jazz Singer? If you guys have watched it,
I mean, so I haven't seen The Jazz Singer. Also, I was gonna do it, and I saw the minstrel. So minstrel shows was a big vaudeville thing, and that was like all blackface, and they were like doing black music, and it was really for the entertainment of. I'm sure black people weren't watching minstrel shows. They probably didn't enjoy these. It's probably for the entertainment of non-black folks, is what a minstrel show was. And they were just really popular in vaudeville. That's like the only history I know. I wrote a whole paper about blackface. This wasn't related to Othello, because that's like another thing. But yeah, there's not really you can't justify it. Ever. It's not justified. Just because it was like okay then, like it was normal, it just still not okay. But
yeah.
And I was looking at articles and I was saying like I don't think anybody ever asked like black people what they thought about seeing blackface ever, especially when you think of the 1920s. Like absolutely they did not care.
No.
100%. What about you, Shayley?
I'm trying to think because I think there's isn't there a movie where there's like a prominent black character, but then they also have another character in blackface?
Oh my God.
Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. With the Robert Downey Jr.?
That's what I was thinking of.
Wait, what was it?
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
It's like a comedy.
It's like an old music. I thought it was a movie musical. It might be The Jazz Singer. Is that one? I don't know.
It might be. I feel like there's a lot of
because I know that Holiday Inn, which is a movie musical by Irving Berlin, also was on Broadway recently. It is not quite it's not a classic like White Christmas is, even though it's like by the same people, same music, because they have a whole like blackface number. I think it's about the Emancipation Proclamation or whatever they celebrate every holiday.
I think it's interesting that like a lot of us are deterred from watching it because of blackface, and like I mean I think just because it's art and because it had like a signature in Hollywood and like yes this was like historically impactful, the blackface like is like we can just appreciate it for it being the first movie musical and the first talkie, but that's it. Yeah, exactly. And like that's what deters me from like watching other movies like Breakfast at Tiffany's, like the yellow face, like it just makes me not want to watch these things because it just makes me terribly uncomfortable. Because
even if you're enjoying it, then you get to that part and you're like, oh, well, what's that?
Kind of ruins it.
Yeah, it's just that's like so hard to understand. Like it's just so hard to understand like why it even.
There are actors who could have done that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know? Like it's not like they didn't exist. They
just
so weird.
Yeah. Anyways. Next is Singing in the Rain, which I thought I would put right after The Jazz Singer because they mentioned The Jazz Singer and Singing in the Rain. That's why they decide to make the movie that they're making, The Dueling Cavalier or whatever, into a talkie because they said The Jazz Singer was really well. But then I looked at historical like accuracy and The Jazz Singer wasn't even that successful because of course like the first thing is never going to be that successful. But I get it for the movie purposes. This was the first time I ever watched Singing in the Rain and it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, it does.
It's super good. Gene Kelly, wow. I get it. I really get it. I literally texted Dana. I was like, I totally get it. Like, why is he hot? Like, I don't understand. I hope he was a good person. I didn't look into that. But I'm fingers crossed that Gene Kelly is a good person. Was a good person.
I have so much hope that he was. I just, in my mind, I'm going to decide that he was because it's Gene Kelly.
Yes. I also watched Singing in the Rain for the first time yesterday, which is shocking because like I feel like there's a lot of classic musicals that I haven't seen, and Singing in the Rain is one of those, and it just like made my heart happy. Like it felt like going home. It just like felt like a warm hug, and I just
and it was your first time watching it, and it makes you feel like that.
It's like, wow, crazy. This is it. It just made me feel.
And you can see the influence that it had on other films.
Yeah.
Like even like The Artist, which is kind of recent, like 2011, I think, you could totally tell that Singing in the Rain and like, I mean, obviously it's about this era, but I could see like definite parallels between like Kathy and Dawn's like relationship between like the people in The Artist. I don't remember their names.
Also, I love Debbie Reynolds so much.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird to like see her young.
Oh yeah, because like
It's so
the first
weird.
time I saw her was in Halloween Town when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, it to see her like. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just funny that you saw her. And
Oh.
that was the first time you saw Debbie Reynolds. It's interesting with Singing in the Rain. I love Singing in the Rain, and it's always just so funny to me because my dad, like, his favorite movie is Die Hard, and he's like such a typical guy, I guess, in regards to movies, but he loves Singing in the Rain. He loves Singing in the Rain, and he'll sing it all the time. And his dad's favorite movie was Singing in the Rain, and I just think like that just goes to show like
so sweet though.
how wonderful musicals can be.
It's seriously such a wonder, and like they don't do dance numbers like they.
Oh my god!
Like
yeah.
Cosmo Brown's like the make him laugh scene. Like how the hell did he do that? And they had to do multiple takes.
Yeah.
And he was just flipping and flopping around, and then like when him and Dawn do like the tap dance number to RF, like I was just like, I can't believe that these men had to do this multiple times in a row. Honestly,
like they're actually so great, and they
like
I think there's like one where they do it all in one take. Good Morning, I think they do that all in one take.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was any cuts in that. Oh my god, it's just like they don't do it like that.
No, they don't.
I want to see the cast of Teen Beach Movie do that. Let me see them do that.
Oh my god,
dude, I like it. But
it's
like, you know how like
hype.
sometimes like when you hear about classic movies and they're like you have to watch them, and then when you watch them, you're like it's.
Yeah, okay, I saw this thing that it was like it's like sometimes you get the opposite of FOMO, like because everyone wants you to watch it, you don't want to watch it. And I think this was one of the movies for me where I was just like, I feel like I've already seen it because everyone talks about it, but I had to watch it from one of my classes, so I was like, okay, whatever. And then like I started watching it, I was like, wait, hold on, I actually like this. And I just loved it. I love this movie.
Truly,
it makes me want to dance on every lamppost.
Yes.
Literally.
Every time I see one of that looks like that, I'm like, oh my god.
When I go to Disneyland now, that's all I'm going to be thinking about. But I think
I was just going to say it makes me miss tap dancing. Like we should have. Think tap dancing is so fun. I want more of it always.
Yes, we don't utilize that enough now. Like nowadays, I like truly. Like I hate to be that bitch, but like this is really good.
It's the blueprint. It should be the blueprint.
Yeah, it is. I think it is the blueprint. I would say.
It's kind of heralded of the time of, or it's held up as like the golden era of musical theater. It's that time, and it's just so good. It's so good.
I would say watch this.
Back 100%. On like, oh, this is great musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I would say like out of all these older ones that we're going to talk about, I would say actually watch Sing in the Rain because it's really that bitch. Like she's really.
Wait, what are we counting?
Good.
Like, are we counting all
like
these?
These, yeah.
Okay, I think I agree.
Yeah.
It'll fill your heart and soul.
It really will. You'll leave me acting like it's still in theaters. You'll like finish watching it and you will be in such a good mood. I promise. If you're ever in a bad mood, just watch this.
That was like the thing I watched right before I went to bed, and I was like, wow. I can have a happy slumber now. Like, I'm having a good time. But yeah, so like in this time, there was like a shit ton of movie musicals. Movie musicals during this golden era was quintessential of the time, 100%. And then you move to the mid 1950s to early 1960s, and there's a rise in adaptations of Broadway films versus like original movie musicals. So we get Oklahoma, we get Guys and Dolls, West Side Story, Sound of Music, Hello Dolly, and there's more, but I just like those ones.
Okay.
So it was like literally like 10, and I was like, I'm gonna pick a few.
Before we get into it, do you guys have a preference between original musicals or like, I'm talking about just specifically about movie musicals, like original ones or Broadway adaptations?
Oh, good question.
Wait.
Okay, thank you.
You mean like in regard to live theater?
in regard to like movies, like do you prefer to see an original movie musical or a movie that's like based off of a Broadway musical?
Ooh, that's tricky.
I don't.
I think it's definitely different. They're different things.
Yeah.
And because, like, for example, Mary Poppins, another movie musical you could consider a movie musical, was not. It was written just for. It was written for the screen, and then it was turned into a musical.
I like both of them, but I do think I like having like Broadway shows adapted into movies because I love theater so much, and so I just want everyone to experience what I have experienced seeing the shows live.
Yeah.
And so that's why I like when they're adapted, because suddenly they're now like open to the world and you get it all the time and you can watch it all the time. And there's a lot of beautiful things that come from doing it in film version that you like maybe wouldn't get normally. But and then I think you can have both, because then now both exist. Now you get the magic of film, but then also the magic of live theater, and that's why I like when they're adapted.
I think I agree with that, but also I feel like a lot of musicals that recently have been written for the screen and that like they haven't been transferred to Broadway, which is interesting to me because I don't know. I feel I don't know. It just is interesting that like La La Land came out so long ago. You'd think that they would have tried to like.
That's what I was thinking too. I feel, and I was thinking when I was watching, I was like, this would be so easy to reciprocate to Broadway.
You know what movie?
Honestly.
Well, we'll talk about it when we get. Yeah, Greatest Showman. I think the first time I watched it, I said I was like, this would be 1,000 times
That
better
would be
as a
expensive
live.
as a Broadway show.
Well, but it could be like The Lion King, like the animals could be puppets, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it would 100% be expensive, but people already know what it is. You know, it's not like they're like they have a fan base.
I'm still mourning like Beetlejuice because I just think about how expensive that one was to me, and then it got closed on, and it was so good.
It kicked out of its theater, like not even it literally got evicted.
It had no choice, and they didn't even get to like have like their final like show because of COVID. It's so upsetting.
I also think it's really funny talking about adaptations. Mean Girls was adapted from the movie to Broadway, and then now they're adapting the Broadway show into a movie, which I just think is ridiculous.
And Tina Fey did all of them.
Anyways, we totally went off the rails. It's okay. So back to the rise in film adaptations for Broadway musicals. I think this is fun because, again, like we're getting like a more accessibility to theater at this time. I don't know if there's one that you guys want to start with, because I haven't watched Oklahoma, which is the first one on this list.
I know that Oklahoma really, like the Broadway musical itself, there's just like the fact about Oklahoma is that it really changed what musical theater is. Like it created the template of musical theater as we know it, which is the importance and significance of Oklahoma as a musical. Haven't seen the film, but it did bring Oklahoma to more people because at that point, like we didn't have TVs and there wasn't as many touring theaters as like they weren't touring Broadway shows like they were. So it was very like centralized to New York. So if you weren't in New York, you weren't seeing a lot of live theater, which is the good thing about theater here.
Also, I don't know if I made this up, but there's a character that's in a wheelchair in this one, right? Or like on Broadway now.
On Broadway now.
Right.
Yeah.
On Broadway now. She's what's her name?
Ali Stoker?
No, I'm trying to think of the character name. I can't.
It's
Annie. No.
Ado Annie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says Can't Say No.
Yes. Yeah, she did it.
Ado Annie. But they like just casted her in the Broadway show and she's amazing. Yeah. I've seen like clips of her on the show and like I think that's amazing that they're making theater accessible to not just able-bodied people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the great thing about that revival is that they didn't change a word of the original Oklahoma. They kept it as is and they just like changed other aspects of it to make it more contemporary, and it was I don't know. I really wish I could have seen it because apparently it was.
I feel like that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like sometimes with these older musicals, like obviously the dialogue is a little dated, but I think that's what makes it fun. Like I think that's why Romeo plus Juliet and like Shakespeare, modern Shakespeare film adaptations are so interesting because you're still having the same dialogue, but the atmosphere is definitely different. So it adds like a different dimension to what they're saying.
And it also, it's the whole thing of accessibility, like in regards to her with Ali Stroker. And then also too, like they did it in the round, and they have the audience, like you're eating meals, like typical, like, oh, I don't know, Oklahoman meals and things like that. And you're like a part of the show. So they're like bringing more people
to
be a part of this like classic musical, which is really cool.
I love that.
I've never heard of that. That's so cool.
I didn't know they did that part. That's so fun though. Then the next one on this list is Guys and Dolls. I just watched this for the first time today. It has Frank Sinatra in it and Marlon Brando. I have never seen them act before, ever, until today. And it was like really weird to like watch them because I know how like iconic they are now. And I liked it. I don't think it needed to be 2.5 hours, but I liked it. I think I was just confused because I don't understand gambling at all. So like I don't get it. And like that's like the whole like underlying storyline.
That's literally why I didn't finish it. Like when I also had to watch it for my movie musical class, didn't even finish it because I was like, I don't know what's going on.
That's how I was with Uncut Gems. Like I needed to go look up how gambling worked and then watch Uncut Gems again, and I was like, okay, I get it. I get it now. I was like, craps, what is that? Yeah, and then like at the end, like the big crap scene when the mafia guy is like, oh, I'm gonna use my dice and it doesn't have any dots on them, but I memorized the dots, so he's just cheating. I was just like, oh, I get it because he's like a big mafia dude, but like I'm just not understanding. I don't get it. But basically it boiled down, it's like this underlying thing of gambling, but I feel like it follows two different couples. So Frank Sinatra's character, Nathan, and then his girlfriend that they've been in a 14-year-long engagement, Miss Adelaide, and she's like a singer at like a show, and he just runs illegal gambling games, and she wants to settle down, but he's just not financially stable, so it's kind of hard for them to settle down. And then Marlon Brando's character is like a really good gambler, I guess. His name's Sky, and he what a fun
description of the movie.
Well, I'm just trying to make it like as basic as possible.
That's what I'm saying, like it's fun.
And then he falls in love with a missionary, and what is her name? Sister Sarah is her name, and it's like the ultimate good bad boy falls in love with the good girl like storyline. Yeah, so I liked it. Marlon Brando is very charming. Let me tell you something. I get the draw of like I was like I didn't understand Gene Kelly before I watched Singing in the Rain. I watched it and I was like, no, I get it. They're really good at twinkling their eyes.
Yeah. That's a good description for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of times in movies, like when they're trying to be like falling in love, and especially in like older movies, and we'll get to this with Hello Dolly, which is kind of like we'll talk a little bit about when chemistry doesn't work and actors are bad. But like it's especially with dialogue when you're watching it in like a modern perspective, it's kind of hard to understand like the dynamics because female and male relationships were very much different than they are today. So it's really important to see the man actually like falling in love with the girl character, especially when they're so different, you know. As for like the musical aspect of it, I think the songs were kind of like interesting. It was like it's not my type of musical song.
I've noticed that some when they were those eras, the time periods when they were doing a lot of movie musicals, they all kind of sound the same. And so I was like, oh, why are they doing that? But then I realized like the movie musicals now are kind of doing the same thing. Like they all sound the same.
I mean, I will say like the musicals that took place like during that time, mostly in like the 30s and 40s and stuff, they literally would all use like the same songs. Like that's why like, Crazy for You and like White Christmas, like they all have the same songs because they just like had this thing that was good and then they just used it.
Like definitely back then it was like, oh, you have a formula, stick to it.
Yeah.
Just interchange like the
Marvel
scene.
movies.
Yeah, exactly. But you know,
I get it.
It didn't need to be 2.5 hours. That's what I'm gonna say about Guys and Dolls.
Okay.
Like it did not need to be that long. And the next one is West Side Story, I believe. Yeah.
You skipped Sound of Music, no?
No, West Side Story is first. I just didn't put
Oh,
the
okay,
characters.
okay.
So West Side Story came out in 1961. I did not know it came out in 1961.
Yeah, I
Neither
didn't.
did I.
I was like, I feel like that's so old.
I
Like,
thought it was like a 70s movie.
I thought it was an 80s. I thought it was an 80s.
It does
movie.
kind of feel 80s.
Like early 80s. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I thought it was like I thought it was a period piece more so than it actually is. Because it's like actually, I don't know. I have a lot of
It's
thoughts.
closer to the actual time period than we thought it was. I love West Side Story.
Yeah, this was one of the first musicals I watched, like in like when I started getting into musicals, and I really like it. I don't like the problematic aspect of casting white people as Latinos. Like, I think that's not cool, but the story, I just love an adaptation of Shakespeare. Like, sue me.
No,
You know what sucks? Like the new one, I was so excited because I was like, okay, we're gonna get a new version, but this version it's gonna like without the problematic aspect, so now I can enjoy it without feeling guilty. And then Mr. Ansel Elgort had to go and ruin that for me. Oh, that's so sad.
Dude, what happened with Elgort?
we don't have to keep this in, but what happened? Oh no.
Oh my gosh. No, we've talked about Ansel Elgort on the podcast.
Yeah, it's okay. We had a whole episode on what he did. Basically,
Tell us later. It's fine.
No. We already like talked about it like as part of an episode. So basically, he just like he had some sexual assault allegations against him, and like it wasn't just like random. Like the girl had like proof that they actually were. It happened, and then he was just like,
he was like, sorry.
Yeah. And even the girl that's like what's her name, Rachel. She's
Rachel
like,
Zegler.
yeah,
Like,
she literally like subtweeted him and she was like, believe survivors or something when this was all happening. So it kind of sucks for her because this was like her first big movie role.
She's amazing. She is so
I watch all of her YouTube videos.
she's so good.
I hope people see it for her. Like that's the thing. People go and they're like, I'm seeing this for Rachel Zegler.
That's why I'm still gonna watch it, because I think there's a lot of young talent in that movie that still deserve like their credit. So
I'm very excited because they cast a lot of Broadway people, and I have like a lot of opinions of that, of like not casting Broadway people in movie musicals. So like I'm excited to see like some people do some really good stuff, like really good dancing, really good singing.
Oh, the music from West Side Story is so good.
Yeah, and like the dance numbers are so fun.
Yeah.
Because that's what Teen Beach Movie is inspired by, is West Side Story. So like, if you like Teen Beach Movie, watch West Side Story, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
West Side Story is so great.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Disney, like with High School Musical, they wanted to recreate a lot of old musicals, but make them accessible for like children. I don't know what High School Musical would have been based off of, but yeah, I heard that with Teen Beach Movie, that was like maybe a plan. I don't fact check that. You should fact check me on that. I tried to look it up and find it.
I like believe it.
Like a thing. It feels
that
like
makes
it
sense.
felt real to me. So
yeah. We're like, yep, well, let's go with it.
No, because that makes sense, because a lot of things like get through like the planning stage, and they're like, okay, that's not going to work out for this one, but it comes back later.
Okay, what's the next one? Oh, Sound of Music. Okay.
This was actually the first musical I ever watched, like a movie musical, because my grandma was a Julie Andrews stan. So this was, and like I was like a chorus kid. So I did voice lessons, and this is kind of like the basics of like choir, like do re mi is like the basics. So I have a really soft spot for this movie in my heart, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. One, I think this movie is too long, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like
I was still about to say.
Yeah, same.
It doesn't need to be 3 hours long, but like, I understand why, because you've got all the beautiful wonderfulness in the beginning, and then you've got the fighting Nazis at the end. So like you need to have. But I just feel like you can condense it more. But I do think that it's just so. Julie Andrews is like a national treasure. I know she's not our national treasure, but she is.
Yeah, we claimed her.
It's just the queen.
She was on the Princess Diaries, guys. She's basically an American.
She was in Aquaman. She voiced
She was in Aquaman.
She did the voice of the monster in Aquaman, like that sea monster thing. It's so random.
Did not know
It's
that.
so fun though. Yeah.
Yeah, The Sound of Music is good, and it like I think a lot of the musicals that we talk about, and that we're going to be talking about too, they don't really age well. They haven't, especially in the 70s. You're like,
Yeah.
but this one is one they're fighting Nazis, which is
Yeah.
good. We
We love that.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, like watching this back older, because I think because a lot of us have watched this when we're like younger, like you kind of like don't realize that they're fighting Nazis. Like we kind of like, because it's so fucking long, you just like internalize the first like half of it, and then by the end you're like, why is this all loud and why is everyone fighting all of a sudden? Like, why are they not saying goodnight to everybody like at the party?
Yeah.
What happened? But like when you're watching when you're older, you're like I think it was like I was much older when I watched it again, and I was like, oh, they were fighting Nazis.
Yeah, I definitely didn't understand it. A lot of movies, they're like fighting Nazis, and I truly went completely over my head when I was 12.
Yeah, I did not know that the love interest for like this 17-year-old was a Nazi. Did not compute that.
Yeah, because you're watching it and they're singing their little duet and you're like, oh, and then like you grow up and you're like,
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, he's trash. We don't like him.
Yeah.
But when you just see the gazebo scene when you're younger and you're like,
Yeah.
aw. No, we don't like him. But he did let them go free, right? So we kind of like him.
Yeah, he helped in the end, I think, right?
But he let
He
them.
was young. He was young. He's probably like very impressionable when they got him. You know,
Yeah.
we can only assume.
I'm like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, we're not gonna defend Nazis, but
it's definitely though a musical where you go like, oh, it's dealing with serious things, but it's also we're also singing, so it's like you're cool. It's cool in that way where you're like, oh, we can still have a fun musical, but then like also talk about important things, you know.
True. Like I like when movies have like a historical context underneath.
Yes.
Like Rent. We'll get to Rent, and I like the historical context underneath Rent that you don't get when you're younger watching it, but then when you're older, you're like, oh shit, like this is about serious
like
shit.
It's literally in the title, and I truly didn't understand what was going on. Like, over my head.
And then the last movie in this era that we're going to talk about is Hello Dolly, which I didn't watch again until like yesterday. And oh my god, Barbra Streisand is immaculate. She is also a national treasure.
Yeah.
Where like, so as we talked about earlier, like chemistry is really important, and this one is just like, I did not understand this movie until like the very end. Like I didn't really understand what was going on. Like I understood that Dolly was trying to marry this horse guy, but I didn't understand why, because he seemed like a fucking menace and majorly annoying and had a very tragic view of women. Anyone want to take it away? Well, I don't want to like get ahead of anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk because so I think that Barbra Streisand and him just like didn't have chemistry like in real life either. I do think that because I hadn't seen, like the last time I watched Hello Dolly was literally in my middle school drama class. So I wasn't really like listening. I wasn't really watching it. So I rewatched it, and she's a strong woman. Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand. Like by the end of it, we know that it's because she wants to redistribute wealth, and she wants to be. She wants to be happy and in love, and she wants to be doing good things in the world. She doesn't want to be alone. But yeah, in the movie, she's like, she doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities to him. Not a lot. But all the other characters are lovely.
Yeah, I thought the side characters were like super cute. I love it when the side characters fall in love with each other. I do love that trope. That's one of my faves. Like the drama is like happening with the main characters, and the side characters are just like, oh, like falling in love, and then like true love, because the main guy, his name's Horace, is going to propose to this woman who owns a hat shop, but then Dolly intervenes because she obviously has like a conflict of interest, because she's hired to be a matchmaker for him, and she ultimately wants to marry him. And then she like his main shopkeeper, she sends ahead of them to New York and is like, you're gonna fall in love with this girl, because both of them have never fallen in love before, and they're like in their late 20s, early 30s. And they're just like super sweet and like innocent. It's like a really cute, innocent, naive type of love, and it's like very pure, and I like it. But yeah, I thought I didn't like it until the very end because I was like, this guy is just horrible. Why would you want to marry him? But Dolly is a widow, and her husband in the beginning, she like hypes him the fuck up. And he seemed like a great person from what we heard, because he just loved living life. He's like, I just want to live life, like the Kourtney Kardashian audio. I just want to live life. And he just wanted to make people feel happy and like truly live life to the fullest while he could. And like, mind you, they were like kind of rich for the time, so they were able to. Yeah. But at the end, I forget the quote, I was gonna write it down, but she basically is like asking a sign from her like late husband that it's okay to marry Horace. And she says something about redistributing his wealth, like that's like their whole like message in life is to redistribute their wealth, essentially.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, go ahead.
Manure's not good unless you spread it and like grow new young things. I mean, that's not a direct quote, but that's essentially the quote.
Yeah, that's basically it. And I was like, I wish more rich people thought like this. Like, we need to like make that propaganda towards rich people, because no, literally, I don't know what we need to do to like manipulate rich people into thinking that, because I think the world would be such a better place if rich people thought like that. And then Horace ends up saying that, but I was like, that's just such a direct contrast to his entire character before. So I didn't understand.
Not for that initially. No. Like, he was like,
the whole reason he wanted a wife was somebody to keep up, like cook him dinner, and
he wanted a maid.
Yeah. So I thought that was weird that he said at the end.
Supposed to show growth? Is that the point? I haven't seen it, but is that the point?
Guess, but the growth was in the last 15 minutes of the movie, which is like,
I think
it was a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, so I think the musical of this is like significantly, I've not seen the musical live, but I think it's better because the characters, you like them more. And I think that is why it just didn't make a lot of money. It like killed movie musicals, the golden age
reminding me.
Musicals. It murdered it because it cost so many dollars and it didn't get the return or whatever.
$5 million. And also Gene Kelly directed this, by the way.
Oh.
Gene Kelly directed it?
Well, the dancing is immaculate. Like the dancing and the scenes, like watching it, you're like, oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and like I don't know if Disney remastered it before they put it up on Disney Plus, but I was like, why is this like looks like in very high quality? I was floored by the quality of the movie, and like I think it won an Oscar for production design, as it deserved. Those sets were so impressive. And I want to look up whoever did that because they deserve everything.
They had a real life parade. Like, they literally hired a whole parade. They just did the whole darn thing.
And it wasn't even that long of a scene. It was not that long of a scene.
No!
And a whole parade.
That's why they killed movie musicals, because they were like, this is too extravagant. And also the Vietnam War was happening, so people were not super excited about happiness.
Yeah. But yeah, Hello Dolly basically killed movie musicals for quite a few years, unfortunately.
So sad.
But I think it was just like the time period, like Bridget said, like Vietnam War, nobody was feeling the hoopla, or whatever the fuck that word is. Hoopla? Hoopla. Hoopla. I don't know. Of like movie musicals, because it was very extravagant. And yeah, it didn't make a good return at the box office. So I think up until like the only movie musical like in the early 70s that we got was Cabaret, which is very different than the other musicals because it's very more low key and not a lot of sets. But it still had a good okay, let me tell you something. I saw Cabaret is one of the first live musicals I saw, and I thought I was seeing Chicago.
Oh no!
We got to see it for free through like a program I was doing, and I thought I was seeing Chicago. So like when they brought up the Holocaust at the end, I was like, hold on.
Oh my god! Throughout the thing.
Down. Oh god.
Yeah, I didn't get it until like halfway through. I was like, this is not Chicago. Like this is a different one. I still loved it. I like welcome like the beginning song with the MC is just like, I don't want to say it because I can't pronounce German, but Let Lives in My Head. Like I listened to the Alan Cumming version literally way too fucking much. Like it showed up on my Spotify. That's how, like, Spotify top 10.
Yeah.
That's how much I listened to it. But I've never watched the movie version of it. So, but I want to. It's just like I can never find it on streaming platforms ever.
Yeah.
I'll
And
be honest, I didn't even know it was a movie.
I know that
Really?
Liza Minnelli, she won an Oscar for it. I know that so she's probably very good at
Didn't
it.
she do it on Broadway? Right?
I think so. I think at some point she did. Because I remember her and like Alan Cumming. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did it with Alan Cumming on Broadway. But I'm really sad that I haven't watched it, but I thought it was like important because Fosse is very interesting to me. And also, didn't they just do like a little Fox short about Fosse?
They did. Fosse Verdon.
I haven't watched it yet, but I really want to. I wonder when they're gonna put it on a streaming platform, or if they have already.
I think it's on there. I'm pretty
Like
sure.
Hulu probably, because that's where like
Hulu has Fox and Netflix,
yeah. So I'll have to watch it because I love Michelle Pfeiffer.
Because it's about Fosse and what's her name? Gwen Verdon. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's like very interesting and like something I don't feel like a lot of people talk about, honestly. Like I don't really hear many, like there's like a very big subculture, I feel like, for Fosse, but I don't think it's known very well by the public.
Okay, yeah.
I think going along with like how movie musicals kind of like died during this time, like even Cabaret, I feel like it was like super small because only the people who were interested in musicals or theater were like the ones seeing it. It wasn't as big of a cultural thing as it was before. So like it's really like low key, and I feel like a lot of Fosse was during this time. But it's also really edgy. Like the topics they talk about in Cabaret are edgy to like especially be in a 70s film. It's pretty.
That's what I was thinking. Like it's very sex forward and very, like, I would say, I don't know about inclusive. Yeah, I guess. But it's like it's very different from what it was going on at the time. So I think that's another reason why people were it wasn't as big. Because it was very sex forward and people were still kind of not into that yet. And then we moved to the late 70s to early 80s when music of the time, so like rock, like disco, what else? Rock, disco, something else. I don't remember what I read. But they were influencing movie musicals that were coming out. I think it was like Flashdance, but I took it off because I was like, it's more like a dance movie.
Yeah.
But starting with Jesus Christ Superstar. I've never watched this one.
I haven't seen Jesus Christ Superstar, but I know that it's significant to musical theater, and I just wanted to put it on because I knew it was a movie as well. And I think a lot of people saw this movie and became interested kind of in musical theater because it really brought its own original rock music to like movies or to musicals, kind of like how Hamilton did for hip hop and like rap music into musicals. Superstar did with Andrew Lloyd Webber. So like that's kind of the significance of it. I don't think the movie was very like it wasn't as popular or culturally significant, but
it was like the catalyst because I feel like after this there's a lot of, I don't know what the term is, but a lot of rock musicals came out after, especially in like the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
And somebody had to do it first.
I think Jesus Christ Superstar 2 kind of, it was like Bridget was saying, like with Hamilton, it suddenly was like it was like modern for the time, and so people gravitated towards it because of it. And like if you ask people, I think a lot of people know, especially that one song, I Don't Know How to Love Him, I think is what like that's a really popular song just in general now, and like some people don't even know that it's from Jesus Christ Superstar, and so it like kind of brought like like musicals into like popular being. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've only seen the John Legend version that
which was immaculate.
Yeah, that's the only one I've seen.
That's good in that. When we're talking about Fox musicals, Jesus Christ Superstar is the best.
I think that's the only good one.
Yeah, really.
That's the only good one.
I didn't hate the Grease one. Sorry.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
we'll get there.
I hate it.
And then next is Saturday Night Fever.
This
which,
I hate.
Yes, I know you do.
Oh, sorry.
It's not. Yeah, it's not good.
Absolutely hate this movie.
No, but it's important because it was like I feel like it was very culturally significant like throughout.
Yeah. Oh,
time.
of course. Yeah.
Especially like the opening scene when he's walking. Like I think especially I feel like disco as a genre is very polarizing. So I just thought it was interesting.
Oh,
And
yeah.
John Travolta put his heart and fucking soul into the dance numbers. So I think that alone just needed a little shout out, I guess.
This is one of those movies when I watched it, because I had to watch it freshman year, did not age well.
No, not a single bit of it aged well. I was literally like, this is horrible to watch right now. And like, I don't understand why. So like, I understand that it had cultural impact, but I don't think that you need to learn, like to teach us film and all this. We don't have to watch these movies to understand the importance of them.
Yeah.
I just was miserable watching this movie.
Don't watch it.
I've never seen it.
I would say just watch the dance number and that's all you need to
Go watch the Glee version.
Yeah. Watch that Glee episode. That's what you need to do because that is one of the best Glee episodes.
It is.
It really is. That's like the best work they've done. I swear to God, that ignited something. Saturday Night Glee, like, oh my God, I can't. Okay. And then the last one throughout this time is Grease. John Travolta back to back, man. I love Grease, but Danny Zuko fucking sucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would agree.
The side characters I think are like charming and whatever, but let's not forget that Danny Zuko almost assaulted his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So
okay, John Travolta in all these movies is doing the shadiest things.
Yeah.
Not I mean his characters, not him, but I mean
lots of the lines you're just like, oh, and then the ending is the best.
Yeah. Like the ending was so confusing.
Like favorite thing. Like a lot of people love Grease, and like I'm gonna be completely honest, I
did when I was younger.
Yeah,
I think it's so fair though. I think I just have like emotional attachment because it was like one of those movies I watched with my grandma when I was younger. Yeah. But I rewatched it and I was like,
But I think for me, this is one of those musicals where I'm like, I will watch it just for the songs, and I'll be like, when stuff is happening, I'm like, okay.
They did not need to make those songs go so hard.
No, they really did incredible songs.
The songs are good, but I hate the overall message of the fact that she like changed herself for this man. I'm like, no, I don't like that, so it just makes me not like it.
Yeah, because they focus more on her transition to being a bad girl, where for like they kind of like showed him trying to get on the good path, but ultimately he went back to his ways and she's the one that had to change for him.
Yeah.
Like why couldn't they just been like, I liked you the way you were before. That's why I liked you. Like why couldn't we end with that one?
Yeah.
But the plot of the movie overall, not good. The songs fucking go too hard. Go way too hard. They had no right to go off like that. And
no skips too.
No skips. No skips.
The plot, a skip. The songs, no skips.
Yeah, just listen to the album and maybe the
Glee episode. Oh my God.
I can't.
Oh, also in defense of the Fox one. Okay, I like it was whatever. You know what you're getting into, but I remember when we were about to watch it, and then like it came out that Vanessa Hudgens' dad just died.
She carried that on her back.
Absolutely. I literally didn't finish the word. Absolutely, yeah. So that's the only reason I will defend it. I don't remember anything else about it.
Vanessa Hudgens again carried it on her back. I didn't like Julianne Hough as Sandy.
No, wrong choice.
Yeah, who was Danny?
Aaron
Tveit, which is we love Aaron Tveit. He's great.
I love Aaron. Hot take.
That was an interesting casting choice, I would say.
Yeah,
I like him as
on Broadway. He's immaculate, but I don't like him in his like acting roles. Is that bad? I'm so sorry.
I agree with that, and I mean, that's why he hasn't won a Tony is because of his acting. But his voice is really good.
Yeah, I don't know why. And like I remember because Julianne Hough is a stronger dancer than an actor.
Yeah.
They they made more dancing numbers and
which was fun.
Dumbed down kind of the singing roles for her. I didn't like it.
Aaron Tveit would have served well as Danny on Broadway. I think he acts well on Broadway. Like he's a theater actor. I don't think
Because
particular.
it is a different type of acting.
Yes.
It's a totally different type of acting.
Totally different.
Okay, so next, throughout the late 80s and the 90s, Disney actually dominated musicals. Rather than it being live musicals, we got way more animated musicals, which I think is what introduced a lot of people our age to musicals.
Yeah.
And like literally from birth, like actually out of the womb. So the first one on the list is Lion King.
Love it.
I mean, isn't it one of the longest running
It is.
Broadway musicals, or it was?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Like
Yeah.
30 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like an example of when like a lot of Disney movies got turned into musicals. So we got the other way around rather than Broadway shows being made into movies. But I don't know. I didn't watch The Lion King as early before because I was very much a Disney princess fan. So, but I think, yeah, I mean, it's good.
I love all of these
It's
movies.
iconic.
I recently rewatched The Lion King because when I was doing the Shakespeare classes, Hamlet is based, or Hamlet's based off the Lion King. Lion King is based off of So we kept telling these children, so I was like, I gotta watch it. And it is good. Like,
It's
as
so
a
good.
film, it doesn't need to be as sad, and like it's so my heart was broken for so much of it, but it's like so good and deep. And the music, Elton John wrote it all, so like
Yeah, he
you know it's
did.
good. It's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
There
did.
Also, no skips on that
Yeah, no
album.
skips.
No skips on that one.
I remember we saw the like remastered version in theaters, and me and my friends were watching it, and it gets to the part where he's looking for his dad, and we're all like slightly tearing up, and he's like, dad, and then this little kid in the corner was like, Mommy, where's his dad? And then we lost it. Like, we all just started bawling. And it's just, but it's the thing that, like, that movie could be reintroduced to, like, every generation.
Yeah.
And still would be so great. Because it's just a good story. It's still, like, it's weirdly a human story.
Yeah.
Even though it's about animals, it's still very, like, human.
And I think it's so widely loved because anybody can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because, like, Disney, when you think about Disney princess movies, obviously that's directed towards, like, girls more so. So I think that's why Lion King is so huge, because literally you can identify with any character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many characters to choose from.
It's also timeless because it's literally just animals.
Yeah.
So like you can watch it in any era and you're just like, yep, this holds up.
And then the next one is Aladdin, which is one of my personal favorites.
Love Aladdin.
I will say. The songs, again, no skips.
No skips. No skips.
No skip.
And
the musical of this one didn't like it as much as the movie.
Oh.
no, because again, like you lose because you can only do because I feel like a lot of the amazing parts is the magic carpet, right? And yeah, like they can do certain things, but
When they fly over the audience, I was like, oh, it's like
I like it. But
I thought it was like, they got stuck up there that one time. Do you remember?
probably
It was like the carpet got stuck and the actors were just stuck up there and everyone's like,
Yeah.
that's awkward.
This is an example, though, of like when film serves the story better than live theater. Like I would say that with Aladdin.
Yeah, 100%. And then, like, I think also we get a different portrayal of a princess in this movie. Like, I think that's why I feel like a lot of people like Aladdin a lot. I feel like Aladdin is one of the more beloved Disney princess movies.
Yeah.
Like, Jasmine is one of the more beloved Disney princesses because she is very much rebellious, I guess.
yeah.
And she challenges, like, the ideologies of the place she's in, which I think is refreshing.
She's also not white, which was like something different that Disney hadn't done yet.
Yeah.
I think. I don't remember the time. I don't remember
I
the order.
think during like the Renaissance is when they got a little bit, they like sprinkled a little diversity.
They're like PLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you get a snack, a
Yeah.
little taste of diversity. Here you go. But only animated. That's the only time you get it.
Yeah.
But I think overall, like Disney just like knows how to do fucking musicals.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
They really do.
Well, they just like really like even they have Hello Dolly now, and then before this, or they did Annie, which like I don't know if you guys, I like grew up watching Annie, and they produced that. They're just like they just know. I don't know why they know it's so good, but it's just
They just know how to use music to tell a good story within with all their characters.
They transformed a generation. They revived.
Yes, 100%. 100%. They definitely, because I think especially with Gen Z in particular, this is, and like late millennials, this is the first introduction you get to musicals. So it made a lot more. It kind of was like the mini track to musical theater, the pipeline. The Disney to Broadway pipeline. Yeah. Like literally. So I think it's just like making baby musical theater fans, and I think that's super precious. God, I love that. It's just so cute. And like it keeps art alive, which I feel like a lot of times art isn't taken seriously. And we see that a lot with like COVID shutdown. A lot of shows got put out because we weren't able to view it. And that's the only way you're able to view Broadway is through this. So I think that's why movie musicals is important, especially for accessibility, but also like it creates fanfare, a new group of fans to want to go see it in live theater. Yeah. And then Beauty and the Beast. I liked this when I was younger. I literally dressed up as Belle for like 3 Halloweens in a row, I think. I think I just liked it because she was smart. Because she read books, you know?
I was like, me too.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I want to read books and put my hair in a half up, half down fashion. Like I totally I want to be like Belle. And I thought it was like admirable that she stood up for her dad. Because I think that was like a big trope of like Disney Renaissance it was more so girls standing up for their family, rather than themselves, rather than them being like an object. So I think that's why these hit a little different.
I love Belle as well because I think with her she tries to see the good in people, and that's just she's so tough and strong in a lot of ways, and just really like genuinely caring, you know.
Yeah, is she a victim to Stockholm syndrome? Yeah, but she has good heart, you know. Like I was like, yeah, we can get over Stockholm syndrome because you fell in love with somebody beyond their looks.
Maybe they broke up after. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought it was like a good message for kids because when you're a kid, you're not gonna get Stockholm syndrome and like a cycle of abuse from that. You're gonna get like the bare minimum, like, oh, she liked him because of his personality, even though his personality in the movie sucked, and he did
beauty within.
Exactly.
Story.
Exactly. So we can still show it to our kids, I think. I think so. And then the last one is The Little Mermaid, which my mom told me that like I literally ran this VHS through, like to the point where we had to get another one. Like it would end and I'd be like, rewind.
I literally think I did that with Peter Pan. I ruined it because of how many times I wanted to watch it.
Remember VHSs? Oh my God, so fun. I remember when I was in like high school and I was going through like my retro like different phase, and like I brought out my VHS player. I literally found it in the garage, and I would like exclusively watch VHS for like 3 months, and I was like, this is too much.
You're so indie.
Yeah, super indie queen. But again, I think no skips on this one.
No skips. I love this movie.
Part of your world is I feel like. Yeah, and who was it? Is it Danny Elfman that like writes a lot of these songs, or am I crazy?
Are you talking about Howard Ashman and them?
Yeah.
Howard Ashman.
Like who? Because there's like a team of people that wrote all of these songs. I don't remember.
I mean, Alan Menken wrote Little Mermaid, the Little Mermaid songs. He wrote them a lot of Disney songs. Like he did. I'm pretty sure he did Aladdin as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
he can write a bop.
Yeah, I think that's why like a lot of these have no skips, because when I think Disney, like as much as I love like diversifying like sets and stuff like that, I think when it comes to music, it's hard to write fucking music. And especially when somebody does it so I know it's Disney, but like magical. So it's I think that it's
also hard to write a story through music. Like it's hard to tell a story through music, I think. Kind of. But especially like to enhance the plot and to talk about the character arcs and like all of the reasons that like, or the purpose of songs within movie musicals. that's like a difficult thing to do, and Disney like found the people to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they did.
it worked. It worked very well. Yeah, Disney killed it during
Disney
this
knows
time.
what they're
They
doing.
really did. And then we moved to the early 2000s, where I think during this time they were very much rebellious in the fact that they wanted to kind of distance themselves from old Hollywood and wanted to be a little bit more edgy, a little bit more dark. We're going to challenge the system and reject old Hollywood.
Mhm.
I think that's what we were in this time.
They're in the rebellious phase.
Yeah. They learned from the Disney Renaissance, from the Disney princesses being rebellious, and they're let's apply this to Hollywood. And we get like musicals like Moulin Rouge. We started off 2000s with Moulin Rouge, which I adore. I think we all know that I'm a Baz Luhrmann stan.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love Moulin Rouge. So good.
it's so good. But like because I love this musical so much, when I went to France, I wanted to go see like the actual Moulin Rouge, right? And then I go there and I'm like, oh, it's so tiny. It's so small. It's literally not big at all. And like because in the movie they make it look gigantic, like this like monstrous thing, because it's Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
That's Baz Luhrmann's like signature.
It's like literally spectacular. Like it's just so in the movie.
Yeah. I wish I could have gone in, but I literally just saw it. I took the picture and I was like just staying there for like 10 minutes and I was like, all right.
That's kind of when you go like traveling and then you're like, oh, that's the Statue of Liberty. What now? You just kind of look at it and you're like, how long do I stay here?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do right
need
now?
To like do something?
Like, okay, picture, what else? Like, what do I? It's so weird.
Yeah. Also like Ewan McGregor
I love him.
kills it.
Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Well, I've been saying it wrong this whole. Well, okay, I never know.
How is it? I thought it was Ewan. Like Ewan?
Ewan, because that's what I heard.
Isn't it Ewan, like Ewan McGregor? Like Ewan.
I thought it was Ewan.
Ewan. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my god.
I was thinking about like Star Wars. I think that's
Ewok.
what I was thinking. Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking about. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like that kind of pronunciation.
Okay, that tracks.
Yeah, him. He's great in
Everything.
like movie musicals.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's so good. His mouth is so open and everything, though, and you're just like,
yeah. He could do absolutely any kind of movie.
Oh,
such range.
Yeah, he's an underrated actor because I think he like morphs into characters so well that like that's why people don't really recognize him in life. Like I'm like, why is this man not like a household name? Like when you see him or like when you like hear what he's in, you're like, oh, that guy. But like he deserves more than that. If
I saw him walking down the street, I
wouldn't
think
know
I would know
because he looks like a regular guy.
He did Beauty and the Beast too. He sang in Lumiere.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I think I just love Baz Luhrmann's take on musicals, and I'm very like he did Romeo and Juliet, and he used a lot of modern songs to project the storyline, and I love that, and like I have the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack, and I just listen to it. It's so good. I just like the way he incorporates music into his stuff, and I'm really excited to see what he does with like the Elvis Presley musical. Or not music. I don't know if it's a musical, but like like it's gonna have music.
It has to have,
It will. But yeah, but Moulin Rouge is so good.
I love that Moulin Rouge too is also about the power of art and storytelling and about like how it can heal people and help people and the magic of it all, and I like that.
Oh, 100%. I think Baz Luhrmann, I literally kiss his feet. Like I love that man so much. It's so bad. Like I'm literally like an ass kisser for Baz Luhrmann. But like I think he does that so well. Like everything he does is like so majestic and magical, and you come out like just feeling like you experienced art. And like I sound so pretentious saying that, but it's true. He's he's an artist. I mean, that's what he does. So I think this is good. It's definitely a comfort movie, I feel like, as well, and quintessential of like early 2000s movies.
Chicago.
Yeah, not Chicago. It's Chicago, not Chicago.
Okay, fun fact. When I first saw the Victoria's episode, that I literally thought that was the real Chicago. So whenever people would talk about Chicago, whenever people talk about Chicago, I literally thought they were talking about that. And I thought she was like doing like covers.
Oh?
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Like I didn't get that the joke was that she was.
No, that makes sense though.
I think too.
I feel like if I didn't watch it before that, I would definitely make the same assumption.
And then when I found out it was a real musical and it didn't have any of her songs, I was like, what?
It has nothing to do with.
Like the joke was that she's making a musical that has the same title as a famous one, like, which makes it funnier now that I know. But
but so for Chicago, this kind of revitalized movie musicals because it did so well, especially like critically, to the point where it won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. And Catherine Zeta-Jones, she is so good in this freaking movie, and she won Best Supporting Actress for this. And I think this was like, it's just so good. I am gonna root for these women who murdered people. Absolutely. And we like that.
Yeah.
And like I just think this movie is so good, and I'm so happy that it kind of revitalized movie musicals, because after Hello Dolly kind of flopped, like I feel like a lot of people, especially in Hollywood, were kind of scared to take a chance on a movie. And granted, like Chicago didn't have like the biggest budget, but I think it made Hollywood trust it a little bit more. So we got a lot of musicals after that.
Yeah, I think that Chicago, the movie, did a good job of using movie magic to enhance the musical itself. Like, I think the musical is good on its own, but also like this is a good way of like enhancing it and showing like the good parts of, making it into a movie, like actually.
Yeah, 100%. Because like when you're watching on the stage, you are literally just seeing it from like a broad perspective. But when you're making it into like a movie, not film. I hate that. You're able to focus in on characters and get new emotions that sometimes you wouldn't see if you're like in a different perspective in like a theater. And I think that's why this movie in particular is such a great adaptation.
You also have like way more tools you can cut away to different things. You can be in different places at the same time, like within the same scene, which you can't do on Broadway. Well, I guess you could, but like it's different.
Like focus on things differently. Like you can tell a different part of the story depending on like you said, like what you're focusing on, what the camera is showing.
Yeah, like Cell Block Tango. In the theater, you can't cut away to the actual scene of them doing it, but in the movie they're able to do cutaways to them actually doing what they're saying that they're doing. So it adds a different aspect to it. And then we have Rent. I remember in chorus, like you're able to sing Seasons of Love, but the like choir director or whoever can't tell you much more about the musical because it's not like age appropriate for the time. So, and Seasons of Love is such a great song because when this was going on Broadway, the guy that made Rent didn't even get to see it go onto Broadway because he passed away before. And so they sung Seasons of Love at the beginning, and they open it with Seasons of Love at the beginning to like tribute him, and it makes me like want to cry every time.
When they opened the Glee episode after Rory Monteith died, and they opened it with this song.
No.
First of all, I'm sorry, that was such a brilliant use of that song.
Yeah.
And it was so depressing. Anyway.
Yeah. I didn't watch this until I was older because it was kind of more like an indie type of movie. It didn't get like a wide release because it is like kind of a darker subject matter, or just something that wasn't like talked about as openly as it would be today.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why it was important in the time that it was made, because people weren't talking about it, and people were kind of also making it out to be like, oh, people who are dealing with, like AIDS and stuff, they're like bad people, or they like did something wrong. And instead he showed like, no, these people, have really important stories to tell and love and are strong and live life to the fullest. I know like Jonathan Larson's thing is he said these people you I can't remember the exact quote, but it has something to do with like these people know how to live life because they live it facing death every day. And so like Rent is an amazing musical. It's really wonderful.
So good. And it deserves a lot more credit, which is why I'm glad like we do have I mean, we keep on like mentioning like the Fox Live ones, but I'm glad we have those to bring a new audience to
Oh my
it.
God, they did a Fox Live one? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
Okay.
later.
Oh,
That one is pretty good. It would have been good if they were able to do it live. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
But I love this so much because of like we get to humanize people with HIV and AIDS, and also we get to talk about poverty and like being a starving artist and living your dream, and like seeing that in a range of ways with throughout these different characters. One wants to be a rock star, one wants to be a filmmaker, one just wants to be like an artist, like in general, with like Maureen, and we have a transgender character, which is like huge, and like Angel's storyline. Oh my God, I can't. like it's based on a real person.
Yeah.
So like it's really nice that like that person, Angel, who actually died, the real life Angel, like got to have like a moment on the stage.
Yeah.
And like have recognition, because the real life Angel didn't get that.
Yeah, it adds more
nice
when you know like the backstory of Rent, I think. Like why the musical opens like that, like a lot of backstory for this stuff. Like it really adds to it.
It's huge for queer representation.
Yeah.
Especially in like the early 2000s. And I mean, that's definitely why it didn't get as big of a hype when it first came out, because of all the storylines. But I think it's really important now to go back and watch it and like carry that story, because these people are real life people that did live and like were rejected by society, you know? So it's important that we have musicals like this. And like, I think that's why Rent is like one of my favorite musicals ever.
Yeah, it's so and it showed you that, you know, these people who are going through such difficult things were still, you know, like there's a whole line where they say not dying from but living with, and the whole story is about truly living, like truly trying to live your life to the fullest that it can, despite all of these things that you're going through. And it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's so good. I rewatched it like because they put it on a streaming site, and I rewatched it and I was like, oh my God, yes,
I think it's on Netflix still.
I think so, yeah. And we have like Rosario Dawson and Taye Diggs and Idina Menzel, Anthony Rapp, like these iconic people in Broadway. And like I think majority of these people were on the Broadway version. Besides, who wasn't? Rosario Dawson was the only one that wasn't in the Broadway. So I thought that was a good like tribute to, because I think this is a good one to keep the Broadway originals because of like their direct connection to the creator of the story.
Yeah. Plus it was like a lot of their like Broadway debuts, or like they were really early on in their careers, so they weren't really like, I don't know, they wanted to hire like actual like rock star kind of people. Like that was the goal when they were casting it, was like actually hiring real people. So like putting them in the movie kind of like made sense, because like that was what they were hired. Like that's why they were cast.
And also like this completely transformed like musical theater on Broadway. Completely like shook it to its core, and so many people credit this show as like the thing that like made them fall in love with theater, or like the thing that they connected with, the thing that where they were like, oh, this is the power of art, like this is the power of storytelling. It's a show.
Because like think about like all the other musicals that come before it. It's about like Hollywood, and it's about rich people. A lot of musical theater is about rich people, so it's refreshing to see actual people, and then actual people portray those roles. It adds it's like weird to see like a rich person playing a person in poverty, you know, because especially a lot of times these people have been wealthy for a long time, if not their whole lives, so they wouldn't actually be able to like be connected to the story. So that's why I think Rent is so special. And then we move to modern musicals. We have to talk about High School Musical. We have to. We're gonna switch to the happiness, because High School Musical is, I think, and like it made a lot of people our age want to go into theater and want to participate in the arts. I think that's why High School Musical, like, it's like a Disney Channel original movie, but it completely shook up the arts.
It did. And it's like it had such a huge impact. Like the third movie was in theaters.
the impact it had on our generation is like, and it just made it accessible. It was like, this is something that, because we were younger, so we were like striving to get to high school, and we were like, these are the cool people in high school. You're
Yeah.
cool when you do theater.
Yeah, literally.
You know, like you could do sports and you could do theater, and you're gonna be as cool as each other, and that's cool.
Troy Bolton as a character is very important because I feel like, especially with a lot of jock characters, and I mean, people still face this nowadays, but I think Troy Bolton is a super important character because I feel like a lot of times people are like, you have to choose sports or arts. And as cheesy as his plotting is, like, it shows that you can do both. And I think it's important that, like, men are able to express themselves in an artistic way and not feel belittled, because Troy was still able to succeed in both, you know, which, as cheesy it is, like, it's important for boys to see that.
Justice for Sharpay, though. They did her so dirty in all
Yeah.
movies. I'm sorry, I'm so upset about it.
Yeah. That's
Well,
okay.
I think that's
She got her movie.
Gabriella too, because Gabriella did like STEM, and she was very, you know,
Women in STEM.
and
No, sorry, I was just like, women in STEM. We love
women in
that.
STEM. But it was another thing of like, oh, you like art is also important, and you can do both things. Like you can do sports, you can do science, you can do art, you can sing, like you can just, it's all great.
Yeah.
Period.
So I think that I just wanted to like touch on High School Musical because I think it just made people, like, because I feel like a lot of times, again, like, art is left in the dust, and like it doesn't get as much like love and attention as it deserves. So I'm grateful for things like this where it can revitalize it again, you know. And next is Hairspray. We always talk about Hairspray, so I don't really want to talk about it as much, but like Hairspray is just so good. You've heard my little tangent about Hairspray. Yeah.
How have we talked about Hairspray so much? I don't even like.
I think I bring it up. Like I find a way to bring it up.
In every episode, I'm like, wait, I don't know how.
Somehow I make it about Hairspray.
Yeah.
See, Hairspray is, I know you guys talk about it, but I want to just say, like, so all these later movie musicals, they're casting stars in them to, like, get money. I get it. But I feel like every single star, every single person in Hairspray is good. They're all very talented, and it's just, like, the
James
songs
Marsden.
are good, the content is good, and the casting is good, and it just makes it really good. That's all I'll say.
And then we have Mamma Mia. I think they waited too long for the sequel, personally. Like, really, we waited a whole decade.
It's so random when it came out. I was like,
yeah,
what?
and like they killed off Meryl Streep. Like, why would you do that?
I don't know why they killed off
worst
Meryl Streep.
decision.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably like, I don't know, some good reason, but
She was just like, I don't want to do this again.
She was probably like, booked for something, and she's like, sorry, like I'm booked up until like 2030. So
I think it was her. I think she didn't want to do it again.
Yeah, because they waited too long. Like, and that they did it within like 5 years after. I feel like she would have been like gung ho about it, but a whole decade, babes.
She's like, hello?
Come
that movie
on.
was like 10 years ago, guys. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the good thing about them waiting a decade is that they like created a whole generation of Mamma Mia stans. I don't know if that's because of this movie, but like I feel like everyone's loving Mamma Mia again.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think this is another circumstance where the movie musical is better than the Broadway one. I have seen Mamma Mia live 3 times, and in all different contests, and it has been horrible.
Oh my god!
Like, because the magic about it is Grease.
Yeah.
Like that's like Grease as like the backdrop to it is like it's like a character itself.
Yeah, it's what makes it what it is.
It's just like it makes sense that like these characters would be on this island and like singing these songs. I don't know why, but like in the movie it does, but then when you put it live, it just does not work.
Yeah.
Les Miserables. Fun fact: I have not watched this movie because it's long.
Here's my take on this.
I'm so sorry.
You only need to watch it one time.
Okay.
I know people probably won't agree with me. I saw it once, loved the story, and I love the music, but now if I get a craving for it, I'll just watch the songs. Songs are so good. But like I don't think I could sit through it again, guys. I'm so sorry.
It's an opera. I mean, it's essentially an opera.
Yeah.
You know, so it just is song. Shirley,
I feel like I can now. I think I would like when it came out in 2012, I was like not as into musicals like I went through phases of life where I was like really into them, not so much into them, really into them. And I feel like I could watch it now. But in 2012, I was not in the headspace to be watching it.
Honestly, the people who saw us in theaters or like on Broadway, like because Broadway you get the intermission, but if the theaters, it was just 1 3-hour like. You're so brave for doing that.
I saw it on Christmas Day when it came out.
Oh, that's so fun.
Because I'm obsessed with Les Mis. I mean, as many theater people are.
Yeah.
But it was really exciting because they were doing the live singing aspect of it. So it was really cool to see, like, as much as possible it still be like live theater, because you saw like their acting choices in the moment and you saw their vocal choices in the moment, and it was so personal. And especially like this show is normally so big when it's live, it's huge, especially when the barricade comes out. It's like it's a moment that makes you cry, seriously, like when the barricade comes up. But then seeing all the other things personally, like, and more intimately, especially like the On My Own song, or like When She's Dying, or like Little Cosette, all of those things, where it was really cool to see it in a movie.
But this is a movie where the casting of Hairspray is like so good. Mamma Mia is pretty good. This one is, they have some hits, but they also have like just so bad. Russell Crowe is so bad.
Eddie Redmayne, I actually think was a really good choice, because even though he couldn't sing like maybe as well as like some Marius, whatever, his acting in that empty chair, that empty table, was like devastating. It was so incredible. But then like Russell Crowe, I hate it so much. It was just so bad. It's fine.
This play is like really depressing. Now that I think about it,
I think that's why I didn't watch it, because I think I was like depressed.
I think maybe that's why I could only watch it once, because it just makes me so sad.
Yeah, it's very heart-wrenching from what I gather.
Well, everybody dies.
Yeah. That's not
I know that. That's not a spoiler.
People don't know how Les Mis ends by now, then I don't know what to tell you.
I know who dies, and I know like the general plot.
It's called The Miserables, because everyone in that movie.
I guess Les Mis is a pretty old.
And like the second that someone gets redeemed, like they die, and you're just like. But I will say, like, it's so worth it seeing the live show, especially like it's an incredible musical live, and the music.
I think as soon as like things open again, I'm not gonna take theater for granted.
I'm not taking anything
I'm not
for granted.
literally taking any, but especially theater, because like. I'm like, I don't know, because like, especially theaters are like super packed together. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to take advantage. And also I don't like sitting very close to people, so I'm going to take advantage of the social distancing.
Has Broadway said when they're reopening or no? Like, we don't know.
No.
Possibly the end of summer. That's the plan right now, the end of summer.
I hope that goes through.
I do too.
But London's already opened up, and in Australia, they're doing live shows.
Yeah, because Australia and New Zealand is smart.
They know how to follow instructions.
Yes, they understood the assignment in Australia and New Zealand. I would definitely have to watch Les Miserables. I'm in a better headspace, so I feel like I could watch it.
Last thing I wanted to say about it was like how we said Singing in the Rain was worth the hype. I think Les Mis is
really
worth the hype.
Okay, 100%. I'll definitely watch it after this then.
I will agree though, because me being the theater lover that I am, I have only seen that maybe twice at Mac, because it is super long and incredibly like detailed. Like you think it's over, and then there's still like a whole other hour.
La La Land.
I love this.
You can be a hater all you want, but La La Land is good.
It's good.
So many people hate it because it's so popular.
You guys are haters. Whoever said that, you guys are haters, and I don't care what you have to say.
La La Land is incredible. It
was so beloved when it first came out.
Yeah,
I actually hated it the first time I saw it.
I think people started not liking it because it was so loved. But that's ridiculous, because it's so good.
I just remember I got into a fight with someone because someone was like, it's so bad. Like the first song had nothing to do with the movie, and I was like, "Are you kidding
It literally
me?"
set
It's
up
the
the
whole
whole
point. I literally had like a 30-minute fight about that. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead, Bridget.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that I think the good part about, because La La Land is like a movie that has music in it, that the music it's not, I wouldn't necessarily consider it like, oh, this is what I think of as a movie musical, but it's a movie that has music in it. And one of my old roommates, we saw it together, and she was like, and I was like, I don't know if I like the singing, I don't know if I like the casting. She was like, no, I liked it because it was the point that they couldn't really sing because it wasn't their character. And then I was like, oh, she like made that realization for me, and I was like, okay, I like it now.
Yeah.
But I can't think of it as a movie musical, or I will not like it.
Okay.
I think that this is difficult to explain, but I think the point of that movie is about like balancing dreams and fantastic ideas and imagination and art and all of this stuff with reality and with like the difficulties that come with like following your dreams and falling in love and all of those things. And so I think that's why it works so well that they're not these incredible singers, because it grounds it in reality, but then you still have the fantastical parts and the magic of the songs and the cinematography is incredible and so beautiful, and like everything is just amazing about that movie.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about, well, in terms, I think we all established that we love this movie.
Yeah, and anybody that hates it, you need to check yourself.
Yeah. The Greatest Showman.
Okay.
I don't want to start.
Okay, listen. So the historical aspect, yes, P.T. Barnum was a shitty person, and he exploited people, and he's not great.
Yeah.
But I think The Greatest Showman does, at the basis of it, try to uplift people that are different. I think at the basis, that's, I mean, this is me. That is literally the song of empowering people and like embracing their differences. And I think, I mean, we're going to do this in an episode eventually whenever somebody picks it, but like rewriting history for the sake of the story. I mean, I think at some point, I mean, we talked about this, if you're taking a film class, I feel like, or like any sort of film class, you talk about like rewriting history and stuff like that. And I think at some point it is on the audience to do the research themselves and understand what they're watching and take everything with a grain of salt, which I think is a problem of people consuming media in general, is like, if you see something first before the other thing, you're just going to believe the first thing that you saw rather than the other thing. So I think that's just something that, as people that consume media, like, so everybody needs to acknowledge, is that like, just because you're watching something and it has it's set in a historical time, does not mean that is accurate to the time.
I mean, it's almost incredibly inaccurate. Like almost every single thing in that is wrong. And I think if you watch it knowing that none of this is true, then you can just accept it as the story that it is.
It's in the 1800s. Like, you think the 1800s looked that colorful and like crazy and extravagant? If you really think that, I think you need to like touch some grass or something. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
no, I was just gonna say, because I didn't want to immediately like just completely trash on it, because I do absolutely love the music from this.
I absolutely did not trash on it.
No, me. That's why I didn't want to start, because I'm gonna trash on it.
Oh, okay.
So I love the music. It's incredible. I literally have it on vinyl. Like I will absolutely listen to the soundtrack. Yeah, I work out to it. Like,
the guys that wrote it are the same guys that wrote La La Land.
Yeah, so like
they also Evan Hansen, which is like the music wise, they are so great.
Yeah,
incredible.
My issue with it is that like, I just don't think it's a good story, honestly. And like, I understand that like, so like you said, like people have to do their own research. P.T. Barnum kind of sucks, but like, it didn't have to be P.T. Barnum. Could have been a fictional circus and a fictional land. Like, I think it would have made it much more enjoyable for me, so that I didn't have to. But even when I was watching it, I remember I was like, he treats them horribly, and then like, it seemed like he was reaping all the rewards from it, and like they were kind of just like, they were like, he's like, well, you guys at least get a place to like be happy with other people.
P.T. Barnum sucked in the movie.
No, but yeah. In the movie and in real life, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm sorry, I just didn't like the story at all, but I love the music, and that is.
I think because P.T. Barnum was the main character, I think a lot of times like they focus on this really plain, annoying main character when it easily could have been an ensemble story.
I agree.
Totally.
So I think that's what could have made it more redeemable, because the side characters are what carried The Greatest Showman for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been Zac Efron's character or oh my God, I forgot her name.
Zendaya's character?
No, the
Kayla.
Yes.
Kayla Settle.
Either one of their characters, I think, the plot could have revolved around them, and it would have been a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it would have been way more interesting if they focused on the ragtag oddball of the group, because I think that's what the whole, like, all the songs were about.
Yeah.
So, like, why didn't you just make it about that? But that just shows a reflection of Hollywood and Broadway, that we're focusing on white male characters when they are the most least interesting people most of the time.
They've had so many movies made about them that it's just repetitive at this point.
That's what I think as well with The Greatest Showman, and that's the thing is I don't ever watch it. I just listen to the music because but I liked, and that's the thing is when I say I like Greatest Showman, if I say that, I'm specifically talking about This Is Me, like the moment of This Is Me.
Yes.
Like specifically that part of the movie, I still, when I watch that, cry, like in that moment. And it's also weird, I don't really like the Never Enough song or storyline.
Yeah. That storyline did not need to exist.
Yeah, I didn't like
really
that part.
didn't.
And the way that it's based off a true person is even worse.
Yeah, and they didn't even do her justice.
That was bad. Never had a love affair. They never had like any of this.
Weird.
This woman was just like a good singer, and they just took that away from her. And they were like, "Just kidding. It's all about her love for him." Like, no.
And the actress that was playing it didn't even sing
the
song. So I was like, there was literally no purpose. We didn't gain anything from this. Like, I don't know, maybe they like wrote the script and were like, oh, PT is so unlikable, we need to, but like that didn't even make him more likable.
Also,
I didn't like him at any point, even at the end. Like, have not been redeemed at all in my eyes.
When like what you said, like when I say I feel like this goes for a lot of movies. When I say I like a movie, I'm probably talking about like a very specific thing.
Yeah.
Like that just made me like tunnel vision onto that one thing, and I just kind of ignore everything else, because when I'm talking about like Greatest Showman, like I am talking about the side characters.
But also, like Shayley, you said that like the best moment is the This Is Me moment, which it absolutely is, but it's caused by P.T. Barnum. It's literally the cause of him kicking them out of the like. What? I just think they could have at least added another villain in there that was like.
Well, and I guess like the world was supposed to be the villain because everyone's like rooting against these people.
Oh yeah.
And Zac Efron's character is a villain a little bit in regards to like Zendaya's character, but I will say like I did really like Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman's song in the song, like, the end song is good. Like I'm serious. Like it's only the songs. Like the rest of the story, I full on fast forward through, and I just watched the song.
I do that too.
Get a
I
playlist
didn't realize
on
I did.
YouTube
I literally didn't realize I did that. I would skip to the musical numbers and ignore the plot.
Yeah,
because you can still understand the story through the songs.
Yeah,
so, like you don't need to sit through that.
You don't even really need to hear the story. You just need to.
Honestly. If you don't want to watch The Greatest Showman, just go to the soundtrack. People were doing that with Hamilton, so like.
But I mean, The Greatest Showman soundtrack was on the top charts for over a year.
Oh yeah, and they did like that whole like they redid the album with like pop singers and like doing covers of the songs. Yeah. That was so funny.
So they killed it on the album aspect of this. Who put Cats on here?
Okay, that was me. It's just so bad, but I feel like we can't ignore how we can't ignore it because we're talking about this whole progression. And I feel like Cats, it had all the stars. They had Judi Dench in it for for goodness sakes, and it like was so bad. I watched it.
I'm so afraid that because of this movie and because of how much it took to make and it was still shitty, it's gonna affect it's gonna get the Hello Dolly treatment.
Oh no!
I hope that's not true because we've got like In the Heights that we're gonna talk about, and there's just like West Side Story and the Wicked new movie and Mean Girls and Dear Evan Hansen. There's like so much happening. Well, I mean, when is the Wicked movie happening? I don't know.
Oh my god!
But like, I don't understand what happened.
No, yeah.
Like there were so many things. Like the opening week of it, the CGI wasn't even done.
No.
How could you release them? How did you guys mess that up? That the movie wasn't even done and you had to re-release the movie.
But that show should never have been a movie. That's
It's like such a polarizing show itself. Like as a musical, it's a polarizing musical that people love it or people really hate it, and lots of even the people who love the musical Cats hate the movie because it puts blasphemy on the musical, and it's also bad. It's scary and it's not good. How'd they get scary? How'd they get everybody? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
How
like
much money?
Jason Derulo, like what happened? I just don't like. I want a documentary from start to finish of what happened because I don't understand anything of the entire production of this movie. And like I remember seeing the trailer for the first time and my jaw dropped. I was like, this is
terrifying.
We all agree that this is not good, right? Like this is so scary. Like I just don't understand. James Corden as a cat?
Yeah, no one wants to see humans as cats. Like that is like, and the fact that they're walking around like humans and like that is just so.
And they have like CGI cat boobs and like it's so weird.
And cat tails. No.
I would love to see a documentary like you said, like from pitch to like finish. I want to see who said like, hey, we're gonna do cats and this is like what they're gonna look like and this is all the things, and then everyone be like, yes, for sure, let's throw money at them. Because what? That's insane.
There has to be something we're missing. There's a piece of the story we don't have.
Yeah, the public is being left in the dark.
And like, what did they tell the actors?
Who owed a favor to James Corden?
No.
Who owed a favor to somebody in that
Someone
movie?
was blackmailing all these actors.
Definitely indebted to someone else, 100%.
That has to be it. There is literally no other way.
And then I remember Taylor Swift being like, oh yeah, we had to go to like a cat school to see how like cats move. I'm like, what are you talking about?
The interviews with the celebrities is so comical.
Or like Judi Dench saying that this is the role she was meant to play. I'm like, Dame Judi Dench, no. You can't say that.
Somebody had something on Judi Dench too. Like her and the other guy, the Sir whatever the fuck is
Sir Ian McKellen. Okay.
Helen.
Yeah.
How did they get?
They had guns to their heads during the whole production and press tour.
Literally
100%.
This was a saw trap. Like literally they had to do this. They had no choice. I don't understand how this happened. So I pulled up the cast list. Jennifer Hudson, Rebel Wilson. I just don't.
Idris Elba.
I think what happened was they all made a deal with the devil, and like the deal was that eventually, like to have the career you have to do Cats.
This is the Illuminati. This is a direct effect of the Illuminati.
Yeah, and there's just no way.
We figured it out. We figured out the Cats conspiracy.
Okay, I guess we don't need a documentary anymore.
Oh
my god.
And then something that I was super excited for it to come out, but because of COVID, it got pushed and it keeps getting pushed, is In the Heights. And let me tell you something. I was so motherfucking excited for this fucking movie. And I was like counting down the days to this movie. And COVID happened. And I was like,
this delay hurt me the most.
Yeah.
There were so many movies that got delayed, but this one, because I like cried during the trailer. Like I was like, oh my god.
And I could only imagine how important it is.
I sobbed the entire time during the trailer.
The trailer's so good. This is how trailers should be done.
And Anthony Ramos deserves the world.
Yes.
He deserves the world. And this movie, when it comes out, is going to skyrocket him. And I'm so excited for that moment because he is somebody that absolutely deserves everything. Like he is such a talented person and he seems like such a genuine person as well and super likable. And I feel like as we're moving towards more diversity and like having not white men as leading men, I'm excited to see people that look like Anthony Ramos play these leading men because he totally can.
He's so good.
And also, he's so charming.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to HBO Max, but I'm watching this in a theater. I'll watch it again on HBO Max right after, but we should
rent out a theater and like have to do that.
Well, it's coming out June 9th. I looked it up. June 9th of this year. I will
Let's rally the troops and let's rent a theater.
Yeah,
I'm not joking.
We'll come.
Yes, I have to watch this in a movie theater.
Yeah, I feel like they poured their heart and soul. Everybody on this crew and cast. And I can only imagine how much it means to like the Latinx community, especially from people from the area in New York. Like I feel like it's such an important cultural movie.
When they start singing in Spanish, there's like a little part in the trailer when they started singing in Spanish. I think that's when I started crying because I was like, oh my God.
That was another show that, again, like Lin-Manuel Miranda does that all the time, but it like revolutionized musical theater, and it was also incredibly important, the story, because it was very specific to like, it was about identity, you know, and it was really, really important. And so now I'm so excited that it's going to become a movie, because it's an incredible show and so many people need to see it. And I think the changes that they've done to the story, as far as I've heard, are really, really great. And the way that they've adapted it into the film to make it the best movie quality it can be, not just like theatrical theater quality. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be so great.
It's going to be amazing.
I was just going to say this is a good segue to accessibility of musicals with movie musicals, because I feel like this one, because like not everybody, especially there's just like a lot of people who can't go to Broadway and see In the Heights, or they can't go to the theater even if it's touring, because tickets are so expensive. But it's a story, and that's what Lin-Manuel Miranda, his whole thing is about. He doesn't want ticket prices of his shows to be expensive, because he wants the people who are being represented on the stage to be able to see them. And his shows are just so popular, it's not like a thing that I guess that he's been able to make happen, which is crazy. Another thought. But like, I feel like making it into a musical or making it into a movie is going to like bring that story to so many people, and just like bring musical theater and be like, this is a cool thing from like everywhere. You know, I hope that people like watch it.
And I think it's cool that HBO Max is like releasing these movies on their streaming platforms, because a lot of people can view it from home if they're not able to like go out and like buy a like movie theater ticket, or don't feel comfortable going to movie theaters yet. So I think that's a really great option. And on the Lin-Manuel tangent, like the fact that Hamilton got like released onto Disney Plus was huge, because a lot of times Broadway, like you can't see it on the stage ever. Like you only get the movie, and like in some things you can't translate to movies, some things you can't Cats. Cats. And like some things only work on the stage, and especially Hamilton, when you think about the dancers and that aspect and like how the stage moves, that is so important to the story. And I think that was so important to see, and the fact that so many people got to see it. That was the first time I ever seen Hamilton, and let me tell you something, it rocked my world. Like this summer was my Hamilton motherfucking summer, because like I knew like the big songs like Alexander Hamilton, I knew Skylar Sisters, but I didn't understand the importance of like Aaron Burr, and Leslie Odom Jr. kills it. And I've watched like other productions of Hamilton on the YouTube, because I went down a Hamilton hole this summer. I feel like
you had a hot Hamilton summer.
I did. And like Leslie Odom Jr. is the only person that I've seen that I really enjoy his Aaron Burr. He brings something to the character that I don't know how to put it into words.
I just think this is a thing that more musicals should do. Just in general, like I think that to make them more accessible, I know that the fear is that people won't want to see it in person, and I think that now with COVID, we know that's not the case. Like no matter how accessible it's going to be, people are still going to want that aspect of it. And it's just like sports or like music. Like you can stream you can like watch sports like from your home, but you still want to see a sports game. You can you listen to an album, but you still want to see it live. I feel like it's a very similar thing with theater. True. And you just like don't think that like, I don't know, maybe you don't think you have the fan base, but you're not even trying it. Like I think we all saw with Hamilton that like it's okay, but like try it. Maybe it didn't work with like, it might be a hard road, but like I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
I also see a live show for the first time, and you experience the magic of it and how wonderful it is, like being live and immersed in it and connecting with everyone in the moment. You like know how wonderful it is. So then when you get to see these shows in film versions or like how Hamilton did it, you get a taste of it, and then you're like, okay, I want to go see it now live. I want to experience that. I want to like see the dancers do these incredible things in front of me. I want to like have these stories told, and I want to feel for these characters in the moment. And so I think it's so important to have both things. And I really hope that like having the shows be more accessible through film, that people will then also like want to be a part of theater.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
No, 100%. Okay, the last thing we have time for, we have like 2 minutes to talk about it, is the live musicals from Fox. And like, because we mentioned it throughout the thing, so I think it's important. I think as tragic as some of them are, again, it opens up like a new generation to want to see these on like live, like exactly what you said. And I think they just need to like try a little harder. I feel like they try a little, like they rely too much on the stunt casting, and I think that's the issue a lot of them have. I agree with what everybody says, and like I'm excited to see what happens in the future, especially with everything that's going on with Broadway currently, with people wanting to diversify and keep people accountable and make it more accessible overall in general. So I'm excited to see what that means, because I think making it not accessible and how it's been for like the past like almost 100 years is hurting it more than it's helping it. Yeah. And I'm excited to see the newer generation of Broadway writers and Broadway producers come in, and I feel like a lot of them are so gung-ho. Like you guys are so excited to make it more accessible and want more people to see it. And because you guys have experienced the magic like firsthand, so you want to make more people feel that.
And share it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's a good note to end it on. Thank you guys so much for putting up with all the technical difficulties and all our Zoom troubles. But where can people find you and your work if they want to follow you? I don't know why I worded that so weird.
I guess just on my Instagram, I post occasionally about things that I'm doing, or just about how I'm living my life. And that's just my full name. So it's Bridget Ray DeMaria. I'll spell it out. BRIGGETRAEDEMARIA. You know, but yeah, I'm doing things.
And Shayley?
Yeah, same here. On my Instagram, on my social media, it's also my name at Shayley Shimkus.
And it'll be linked on our Instagram too. And definitely keep up with them, because I feel like they're both going to do great things.
Zoom says less than a minute. So thank you everybody so much for listening. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
The end.